Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. We're about to get into the Tyron Smith injury update, the Joe Haden trade idea that I am at least intrigued by. Before that, though, make sure you guys are subscribed. We're getting closer and closer to 107,000. That's so many that I think I counted it all correctly. Who knows at this point? But if you want free videos here on the Cowboys Report, hit that big red button and subscribe today. Today's Dallas Cowboys video is going to be a little bit more like speculation, some trade ideas out there like Joe Haden that we'll get to. And then the Cowboys injury report came out. And on it, oh no, there's Tyron Smith added to the injury report on Thursday by the Dallas Cowboys, where he was limited with a neck issue. Now, I don't have, and there aren't really anything out there, major significant updates beyond the, hey, he was limited with it. He did reportedly look fine at the open portion of practice today, which makes me think it popped up later on, but it's a red flag because it's a neck or a back. The Cowboys have been through this in the past with Tyron Smith, and anytime it's a neck or a back, I get a little bit concerned. So I don't want to totally freak out right now, but this is a situation that should raise some concern. Because in the first 5 games of the year, Tyron Smith has looked like the Tyron Smith of his prime. He has looked like one of the premier left tackles in the NFL. And that's a big deal for the Cowboys because the team is better when they've got Tyron Smith out there, to the surprise of absolutely nobody. He is, when healthy, one of the best tackles in the game. The issue is right now, he might not be healthy again. And it's the neck. It's been an issue for years now. The back, the neck, the shoulders, the stingers, over and over. Those issues keep popping up for Tyron Smith. So yes, this should raise at least some semblance of red flags. Am I going to full-fledged meltdown panic? No, but those gears are starting to turn. Now with La'el Collins suspended for for one more game, Terrence Steele stays at right tackle. In the event, God forbid, knock on wood, hope it doesn't happen, and I assume it won't happen because I don't want to think about that reality. NSEKHE would be the next man up for the Cowboys at the left tackle position. Now, NSEKHE had missed parts of this year, had a heat-related illness, back at practice, active last week. That's a good sign, but not having Tyron would be a massive blow to the Cowboys. In the event he misses time, maybe it was just some minor treatment, but it was something that caused him to miss at least part of practice today. So this is going to be the pinned comment on today's video, a safe space, if you will, to vent your concerns and fears without hopefully anyone being too mean. So get your votes in. What is your panic level over Tyron Smith? Rate it for me on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you're not worried at all, 10 being you are melting down, season is once again over. It'll be the pinned comment, as I mentioned. So if you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in. Let's head to a surprisingly interesting news development. Jayron Kearse has been accused by Evan Engram of punching the Giants tight end after the Cowboys game wrapped. I got Giants fan producer Marshall here behind the scenes just shaking his head at this whole story here. Engram and Kearse were involved in the Kadarius Toney punch scrum fight, kerfluffle, whatever phrase you want to use there. I do feel it is important to bring this up. There is no video evidence of said punch, there's really no videos or photos. Like the Daily News interviewed other players of the Giants, said, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Okay? It's weird. I watched Giants fans on Twitter body their own player, Evan Engram, over the accusation because they just don't like Evan Engram, period. It's a weird situation, very, very unusual in the end, and I find it tough to believe that there's really no video or no photos, if it actually happened. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Either way, Engram said that he was pushing around Jayron Kearse all game. I mean, he wasn't. He was not. Like, no. That's kind of like delusional talk from Evan Engram. Like, yes, he caught all the targets that went his way. It was also a blowout game, and like Ingram's been a good football player in recent years for the Cowboys. Ignore that Pro Bowl. He didn't deserve it whatsoever. So, I don't know. With no video evidence, it is what it is. A weird story, worth mentioning, but I'm not really going to put too much stock in it. What I am putting some stock in is my betting this year, and I am up big so far this season. You can join me on our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Cowboys125 to get you a 125% deposit bonus. $100 in, boom, extra 125 for free to bet with. And we'll keep it open for a few more days. The jersey deal is here as well. Here's what you do. When you put down at least $100 at chatsports.com/bet, promo code Cowboys125, in addition to the deposit bonus, you can also get a Cowboys jersey from us. Email us, jersey@chatsports.com, for the details. We will need your BetUS account number, a screenshot of your first bet, and whatever jersey size you want. We've got 2 available, CeeDee Lamb in the navy and the star on the stripe jersey like you see right here for Ezekiel Elliott. Those 2 players, Lamb and Zeke, the 2 colors you saw, all the sizes are available as far as I know right now. So if you have questions or if you want to get hooked up, head over to jersey@chatsports.com. You have to place, by the way, at least one bet to get your account actually processed fully. So if you need some advice, I got you guys covered here because I'm leading the Chat Sports office right now. Here are my Week 6 picks, and if you want to bet on the Cowboys, I got no complaints there either. Chiefs -7 against Washington. Chargers +3 at Baltimore. That is my lock of the week. It's a weird line. I love it, though, for LA. Packers -5 at the Bears. Lions +3.5 against the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Browns -3 against Arizona. And I feel better about that line with some COVID issues for Arizona right now. So head over to chatsports.com/bet, promo code Cowboys125. To the rumors now we go. Could the Cowboys trade for Joe Haden? I'm going to give this one star. I hadn't really thought about it until I saw both Bleacher Report and Complex Sports throw it out there as an idea. I actually don't hate it. Haden, again, mentioned by several outlets out there as a potential target. And the Steelers could end up being sellers this year. I don't think they're going to sell right now, but closer to the trade deadline, if they remain not a great football team, I do think they make some sense as a target, as a selling team. Now, money's a factor here. Haden, the last year of his deal, he's a rental. That's okay for the Cowboys. $7 million base salary this year. You can basically cut that in half depending on when a trade would go down. That's some rough math there, but coming in around, let's just even say $4 million. That's doable for the Cowboys for a half year of work. Maybe the Steelers eat some of that money to make it more palatable for Dallas to pull it off, but it's at least worth exploring, I think, if you're the Cowboys. Haden this year, the completion percentage is actually very high, which is a red flag for the Cowboys. But the yards are low, not many touchdowns, hasn't been the same high-impact player we've seen at points in the past. That's okay, though, I think. Because I still think, even as his career begins to wind down a little bit, that Joe Haden is a better football player than Anthony Brown. Now, we still run into the same numbers again, okay, if you got Diggs and now Brown, CB3, what are you doing with Wright and Joseph? When Joseph comes back, you got to make roster spots for 2 guys now, with Joseph not counting at this point. I get all that. That's all valid concerns. And I do think Anthony Brown has been playing better, especially outside of Week 1, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. His completion percentage is not that high. The yards are high, but that's in part because no team has had no defense has been thrown against more than Dallas because they've been up in so many games. It's a partial volume stat. He's been better. And I do wonder what the role will be for Kelvin Joseph once he comes back. He's on IR right now, designated to return. I still think after the bye makes the most sense for him to be activated to the 53-man roster. But let's not kid ourselves here. The Cowboys are contenders. They can go all in. Adding Joe Haden, even on the downside of his career as a rental, to get him for a 3rd or a 4th round pick, somewhere in that range, I think does make you a better football team. It upgrades you in the short term, and that should be a factor for Dallas. So what do you guys think? Do you want the Cowboys to trade for a corner? Trades in general don't happen nearly as much as maybe people think that they will. But this one could make some sense, even if I think all trades right now are 1 star for Dallas. But get your votes in. Why for yes, they should, and for no, they should not. Let's talk safety injury, kind of tying in our earlier story here. Damontae Kazee, is he going to play this week? I'll give it 3 stars. He was out of practice Wednesday and Thursday with a hip injury, but he says he'll be fine. He'll be playing this week. The reason why I gave this 3 and didn't just take Damontae Kazee at his word is the Cowboys don't have to rush anything here as it relates to their situation at the safety position. They're actually in pretty decent shape with depth, even though they kind of fell backwards into it. But Kazee is a tough player. He came back way quicker than I thought he was going to from that torn Achilles. A very good sign for him and his future. But the hip is going to have to be worth monitoring here for the Dallas Cowboys. It sounds like it's more of a minor issue, but it is something to keep an eye on, especially in light of the fact that Donovan Wilson, it would appear, is going to make his return to the Cowboys at safety. Kazee was did not participate on Wednesday and Thursday. Donovan Wilson, meanwhile, was limited both days with a groin. In general, the Cowboys' safety room is a bit unusual. They've got some depth, and that's a nice thing for the Cowboys. It hasn't been something that we've been able to say in the past, with Jayron Kearse playing great as mentioned. Malik Hooker is coming along nicely as he gets fully up to speed and has made a couple nice plays so far by the Cowboys. What I'm saying here, and pun was not intended, but the Cowboys are able to play it safe if needed at the safety position. They don't have to rush guys like Wilson or rush guys like Kazee back. You want them out there, make no mistake, but Dallas is able to not panic. They don't have to force those guys when they're, 90% to play all the snaps. They can even give Kazee maybe half the reps this week and play it cautiously at the position because they've actually got depth. So I want you guys right now to rank the Cowboys defense this year. I'm a big fan of using DVOA, balances out for schedule and whatnot, and I'm saying something that I did not think I would say. It's early, knock on wood. Dallas has played like a top 10 defense. What a time to be alive. Get your votes in for me in the comments. One last rumor, and it's a trade one. Again, Micahel Brockers. How about trading for him? 1 star. I don't like this one as much as the Joe Haden trade for a couple different reasons. Money is a part of this, by the way. It comes to us from Bleacher Report. They put out 3 players the Cowboys should trade for. This was the one I liked the second most. Now, Brockers costs less than $1 million this year. I like that. $4 million of his $7 million salary next year is guaranteed. That could be a potential issue. Also an issue, the Lions don't say really anything with a trade, so they'd be asking for a decent pick. I think they could do it. Also this part. Although I like Micahel Brockers, he's not a bad player. He's better than some players on this Cowboys team right now at defensive tackle. He is not what he was in his prime. He can still help. He can still contribute. He can still be a valuable member of a defensive line rotation. But unsurprisingly, now that he is older, now that he's not playing alongside Aaron Donald, and he's kind of one of the better defensive tackles on that Lions team, getting more of the attention, he hasn't been as good or as productive. And that's okay. That's what we pretty much knew going in. Even for a team that runs more of a 3-4 scheme with Detroit, he would be a defensive tackle, I believe, for Dallas, and not believe he would be. Now, I do think he'd be better than Carlos Watkins. I have been very underwhelmed by Watkins so far this year. Quinton Bahana's coming along nicely, but much like the Joe Haden situation, the Cowboys run into this. Okay, you got to free up a roster spot for wow, I forgot his name. Brockers, Jesus Christ, Tom. Maybe that's Carlos Watkins. But you also got to free up a spot for Neville Gallimore in the near future. Now, he's probably a month away, but he's going to come back. He's got to play key snaps. So that is at least a consideration here for the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe you still want to trade for Brockers. I get that. So get your votes in. Name a player who you want the Dallas Cowboys to trade for. Almost no wrong answers. Now, if you watched our live video on Tuesday, the entire thing, you saw me break down some of my trade candidates. That video, in case you missed it, will be available on demand on Saturday. So stick around for that one. This is what the thumbnail is going to look like. It's just not public yet. So, if you want to talk trade because the deadline's almost here, make sure you guys are subscribed. Before we go, one last thing I wanted to mention was that Bleacher Report also listed Marcus Maye as a trade candidate. Now, if you had told me this before the year began, I'd have been very intrigued. Right now, I'm going to say don't get your hopes up. Couple of different reasons for that. Number one, the Jets and Cowboys hate each other. There's bad blood there in between those decision makers and front offices. Marcus Maye is coming off injury right now. Oh, by the way, didn't tell the Jets he got a DUI. Red flag, red flag. And the Cowboys actually have good safety depth. I think they're fine short term for what they have at the position. And that's me saying this, the guy who always wants all of the safeties on the Cowboys. So as it relates to Maye, I'm not going to get too worried about that one.